Hey, good morning, fellow Toastmasters. It's 7 o'clock. Our inspiration this morning will be led by Nancy Ferry.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Welcome to our holiday party. I have a Fred Rogers quote. I like to compare the holiday season with the way a child listens to a favorite story. The pleasure is in the familiar way the story begins, the anticipation of familiar turns it takes, and the familiar moments of suspense and the familiar climax and ending. Fred Rogers.
Thank you, Nancy. Now let everybody stand up for our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Welcome to our holiday party. It's good to see everybody, a lot of people in person and on Zoom. But before I invite Tracy as our holiday master of the day, does anybody have any announcements that they want to bring up? All right. As next week, we'll all be on Zoom, and Phil Russell, I see with his Santa hat on, is our Toastmaster. And Phil, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you good.
All right. Yes, next week will be.
Who's gonna mark that? Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, Phil.
The theme will be A Christmas Story. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It'll be on Christmas Day, 24/7.
Those are that's a fun movie.
Story, and it should be fun. It's a fun movie, and all we want to do is incorporate a small little story in there. I'll just run the Toastmasters meeting just as you do, but I want to hear your Christmas story, just like A Christmas Story, Mr. Toastmaster or Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you very much, Phil. All right, without further delay, let's get into the holiday party. Tracy, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the holidays, what's so great about Christmas? It's getting back to tradition and what we always do in the comfort of it. And here at AM Lockport, in the past, we always had the tradition of having a holiday party just before Christmas. It was coffee style, it was relaxed. We all sang, we all told poems. So I'm hoping to bring back a good tradition. I have to tell you, Christmas is one of those mixed things for me. When you're a kid, you're just looking for the wonder of Christmas. But as you get older, it gets a little bit more complicated. My first job was working for Hills Department Stores as a manager right out of college. That is stressful, working 70 hours a week just before Christmas, trying to get everything done. Then I started working for Real Property, the office I'm in now, and it's just as stressful. We're trying to get out tax bills and trying to get the budget all done. You grow to think Christmas is the most terrible time of the year. However, and you have to think about getting ready for Christmas too. If you have kids, they're going to write this is what happened to me. He wrote his Christmas list in October, went out and did all my Christmas shopping, and then Christmas Eve, he's talking about what he hopes Santa's going to bring him. And none of those things are on his list to Santa. Talk about stress. So going through these things, you come back to your old tradition, what's comfortable, what's good, making Christmas cookies and talking about Christmas and all the good things. So that's why we're coming here and doing this again today. We have in Toastmasters a tradition of having a toast every meeting. So from Charles Dickens, our toast is, that man must be a misanthrope indeed, in whose breast something like a jovial feeling is not roused, in whose mind some pleasant associations are not awakened, but by the recurrence of Christmas. There are people who will tell you that Christmas is not to them what it used to be. Never heed such dismal reminiscence. There are few men who have lived long enough in the world who cannot call up such thoughts any day of the year. Then they do not select the merriest of the 365 for your doleful recollections, but draw your chair near blazing fire, fill the glass and send round the song, and thank God it's no worse. Reflect upon your present blessings, of which every man has many, not on your past misfortunes, of which all men have some. Fill your glass again with a merry face and content heart. Our life on it, but your Christmas shall be merry, and your new year a happy one. Merry Christmas, everybody. So, to get on with our day today, our word master is Dave Licata. Just to try to get us to use a word and do something in Toastmasters, Mr. Dave Licata.
This is going to be so easy because this is going to be such a relaxed meeting where we go off the rails and, as you said, coffee house style. And we tell stories and share poems and songs from the past. So naturally, I looked at Michael this morning. He said, "You got a word?" And I said, "Yeah, nostalgia." He goes, "No, you used that already." I go, "Mike, I did?" He goes, "Yeah." So this is going to be so easy. I want to hear you say Christmas past, Christmas present, or Christmas future. If you want to throw in your favorite actor who portrayed Scrooge, and you say Alistair Sim, you get extra points this morning from your Wagmaster. So you can use Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future. Any reference to how great Alistair Sims did it back in the 50s. And in spite of the fact that he played such a dour person, and we're all a bunch of Americans, we didn't know that in Britain he was known as a comedy actor, a comedic actor. But he ended up with this very serious part. But we all know, all us thespian types know, that straight plays are easy, comedy is hard, and that's why he was so good at it. So thank you, everyone. And, if you want to use nostalgia, that's okay too. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dave. And I could just see that conversation in your house this morning. So our jester today is Marshall. Marshall, do you have a jest today or do you not? Either way, we're good.
I have. Fellow members and distinguished guests, I prepared two jokes, but my friend said those two jokes, they are even older than my grandpa, so they are two archaeological jokes. The joke one is three-legged chicken. The city guy visits a farm and sees a chicken running three legs at an incredible speed. He asks the farmer, "Why is that chicken so fast?" The farmer says, "We breed three-legged chickens so we can get more drumsticks." Curious, the guy asks, "So how do they taste?" The farmer shrugs and says, "We don't know, we can't catch one. They run too fast." If you laugh, this means you are very young. The second joke is free dog. A man sits aside.
Uh-oh. Marshall, you're on mute. Oh, it's
Really talk. The owner note, and the man asks the dog, "What's your story?" The dog says, "I've worked as a rescue dog, traveled all over the world, and ever helped the spy on secret missions." The man is amazed and asked the owner, "Why are you giving away such an incredible dog for free?" The owner shrugs and says, "Because he is a liar. He's never left this yard." Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Go-
Thank you. The only other job holder we have today is our general evaluator, Mark. One of the things I'm working on today is I'm working on the persuasive influence manual. I'm trying to bring back an old tradition. So you can judge us on that. And I am also working on active listening. So you can judge me on that. It's supposed to be for table topics, but we're going to use it for this. You can judge how you think this meeting went at the end of the day. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
Wow. Well, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, good morning. You're off to a great start with this traditional holiday meeting. So I think it'll be a lot of fun for me. Obviously, I don't have a lot of guardrails today, so it sounds like I can evaluate you any way I feel like it. So that's good. Not that I expect anything but positive feedback. So back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. That's why I love general evaluators like you, Mark. So our first speaker today is going to be really special. It's Beth Banks. She's going to tell us the story of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Her and her daughter Kate are going to be working on this. And Beth has also brought in a special treat that she's going to tell us about. Beth Banks. For in Zoom, Dave Licata pointed out it's going to be a short story. Yeah.
There's no stopping my mother. You see where I get it. I'd rather after her surgery, she be the one to see this, but no, it's the whole plan. That's right. Okay, microphone. Very demanding. I just know how the music went last, so. If you want our Zoom people, mostly mom and stuff.
Yeah. Thank you. Really can't see. Oh, wow, that was good one. Okay. Yeah, can't do, I can't find the end. I'll move the lectern over.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
I'll do that.
Like that. I think we're ready. Are you talking about?
Oh, I got it.
As we're putting the stockings hung with care, my mom wasn't going to talk about these, but she hand cross-stitched these. She made them for all of us in the family, which is pretty amazing and very time consuming. Beautiful keepsake. So this one is for me. It says Katie on it. And then my sister Vicky, who we have yet to come get to a meeting, but maybe soon. All right. And then I have my younger sister Jackie and my younger brother Phil. And then she made them for the grandkids and the spouses. So you have to be on this side now because he moved the angle.
All right. I'm
We
ready to
good?
start. Okay. I volunteered to read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Before I get started, I did bring treats. I brought recipes from my mother. So Christmas past, the fudge, oatmeal carmelitas, and fudgies are all recipes from my mom. Now I'm switching roles, and as Samuel Moore wrote this, I'm the daddy, not the mommy. So hence the nightshirt. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads.
Daddy, what are sugar plums?
A sugar plum is a candy. If you look it up, you get different answers. You get answers that have a lot of fruit in them, or you get answers that are just hard candy. So I guess you could decide for yourself.
Yum. Can I have a sugar plum?
I don't have any tonight, Kate.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap.
A kerchief and her cap? Was mommy wearing a kerchief? Wait, are you wearing a baseball cap?
No, I'm wearing a nightcap. It is cold in our time, you know. Even with the fire in the bedroom, it is very cold. So we need to wear nightcaps to keep our heads warm.
Baseball cap at night is funny. Can I wear my baseball cap to bed?
No, you don't need to bring a baseball cap to bed. You have a lot of hair. When out on the lawn, there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash.
The sash, Daddy, did you take the sash from my dress?
Oh, right. Well, no, this is one of those words that can have several meanings, Kate. It can be the sash from your dress, but it's also the part of the window that you lift up.
Oh,
Okay? The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and a tiny reindeer with a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came. And he
Daddy,
was
what's a courser?
glad you asked that, Kate, because I actually had to look that up myself. And truthfully, if you look in the dictionary, it's rather confusing because a courser is a strong horse that goes into battle,
Oh, the Rangers in battle.
or a bird. So apparently reindeer are combinations of birds and horses, I guess,
Because they fly.
because they fly. Yes. And he whistled and he shouted and he called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, they meet with an obstacle, they mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. a bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his sack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath.
Daddy, Santa doesn't smoke, does he? You must know that smoking is bad for him.
Well, when Samuel Moore wrote this poem, the doctors didn't know smoking was bad for you. So he added this. Now some might decide to take this part out of the poem, because apparently that's what has happened through the years is some people decide to omit little parts of the poem to become more politically correct. I agree. Santa shouldn't be smoking. It's not good for him. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon led me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work. He filled all the stockings, and then he turned with a jerk, laying a finger side of his nose and giving a nod. Up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and Kwanzaa, and Hanukkah," if we're being politically correct, and to all a good night. Thank you, guys. I'm very thankful for Kate playing along with me and pretending to be my little girl listening to the story again, because every year we did read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" to our kids.
Yeah, Beth, you were gonna tell us about the Christmas treats that you brought in too.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry.
The fudge, the oatmeal carmelitas and the fudgies.
Okay.
My mother's recipes. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Mark. You'll notice that I wasn't actively listening. Our next, however, that was a very good example of Christmas past and Christmas present. Our next holiday speaker is going to be Jackie Kenny. Jackie, you have something to tell us about Christmas.
Good morning, everyone. Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future. They're all wrapped up in a package that's our nostalgia and the memories that we have about Christmas. I treasure Christmas. Christmas is sad and happy because, of course, you think about all the people that aren't here anymore, the ones that you miss that were a big part of your life. My mom was Christmas crazy. Right through young adulthood when I was still living at home, and so was my younger brother. We still had to go hide in our rooms while Santa came. And she had a giant string of sleigh bells. After Santa came and put the presents under the tree, she would ring the sleigh bells and then we could come out and enjoy Christmas together. One year, we had shopped together for things because I was a teenager and obviously knew who was actually doing the gifts. It was the early 60s and desert boots were a thing. We picked out these beautiful, really beautiful white leather desert boots you can imagine. And on Christmas morning, after the sleigh bells rang and I went through my presents, they weren't there. She'd forgotten where she hid them. And then kind of forgot all about them. So I had to find a tactful way to say, where's the gift I really want? We finally figured it out. She'd hidden them in the utility room next to the furnace. So they were nice and toasty, but they were a wonderful present and I wore them for a long time. She treasured Christmas in that way all of her life. She spent it with us at my house after my kids were born. And having children let me know how special Christmas could really be. Having the people you care about around you is so important at this time of year. All the people that you love, whether they're related by blood or they're dear friends that you care about. I hope all of you have that kind of nostalgia and memory for Christmas and use the memories of Christmas past to bring forward into the present and into your future Christmases. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you, Jackie. That was a lovely story. Our next speaker is going to be Eric Schneider, and he's going to tell us about a holiday party. Eric, tell us what you have.
Thank you much. Good morning, you beautiful people. That's a great answer. This morning is going to be a two-part fold. I am going to show you a video. I know it's December, but we're all thinking of warm weather, right? Are we thinking warm weather right now? No? Yeah, okay, Dave's the sole survivor. It's summer. I'm thinking. Okay, sorry. Thank you, Sylvia. I might have to rely on you. Yeah. Okay, can anybody hear me now on Zoom? Okay. So this morning is just, okay. I get able to share my screen, Len? Okay. I'm already thinking about summer because I want to go out for running. I'm actually thinking about getting back into the running situation because next year will be 20 years I started running full time, starting with cross country and doing my first ever 5K in May of 2005. I remember it vividly. It was the Apple Blossom 5K in Newfane, and it was a beautiful spring morning on a Saturday morning, and I ran 25 minutes and 1 second. That was the first 5K I've ever done, and I ran over 35, I may be exaggerating, but 35K races, 4 6-mile races in Lancaster for the Boys and Girls Club. And ribs hurting, legs sore as all you can be. And you know what? It was worth it because I did cross country for 6 seasons, ran for almost 20 years. I went back to 5Ks last year because I couldn't do it because of the pandemic. but getting back into a 5K stanza, as you may, felt pretty good. But like, okay, I was getting to that. So let's take a look at Letterman's top 10 about summer concerts. Press play. Oh. Hold on here. Can you guys hear it or no? Oh yeah, hold on. I gotta escape first. Hold on. Let's stop the share screen. There we go. Mark's. We have plenty of time.
Signs now you're at a bad summer
Okay.
concert. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, here we go. Number 10. It's held on the median of I-95. Number 9. You can't hear the music over the plane spraying for monkeypox. Number 8. Every song is either about pancakes or after Jeff Goldblum. Number 7, the big encore, a 20-minute apology. Number 6, it's an intimate evening with the late Bing Crosby. Number 5, 90% of the seats are obstructed view. Number 4, biggest crowd response is when lead singer announces that there's a white Ford Taurus with its lights on. Number 3, Britney Spears is sick, so her heavyset Uncle Larry is filling in. Number 2, only thing in key, the feedback. And the number 1 sign you're at a bad summer concert, lead singer screams, "Are you ready to rock?" The audience replies, "Absolutely not."
All right, so enough of that. I would like to do a story, if I may. I did this for my English class I just took. First off, I got an A in the class, so I passed that with no problem. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is a first-person narrative. I've known in the past, I've shared stories about my accidents in the workplace, but I'm going to tell you all in a first-person narrative. And I would like, if you guys want to give me some feedback, that would be fantastic. But I would love to share what I have written down here and what some not mistakes that I put in here, but stuff that I've changed to make the story much better. All right. So basically, when you clean, all right, you have to ask yourself, how is this benefiting you? All right. Are you protecting yourself from bacteria, germs, COVID-19, and injury? However, this didn't go as planned as I thought it would. You know me, I go full force and I go speed ahead, but that wasn't the case. That happened to me 2 years ago, the day after 4th of July. We're all getting back from the holiday break. And it was 6:30 in the morning when little old me decided to bust my hand open. If you guys can see the scar on my hand. When you leave a cart in the middle of a doorway, you have to remember you really need to pull the cart in so you can close the door. Me, trip over my own 2 feet, jab my hand into a door jamb, and the skin came off of my hand, and that really put a damper to my morning. And I know everybody's still eating their breakfast, but I think I didn't bring a picture in today. 13 years I've been a cleaner. 13 years of injuries, 13 years of not trying to make my mom mad for all the injuries I've sustained. The careless acts of not being careful, going full speed ahead, was been a whirlwind. And I didn't think at that moment in time the aftermath I would sustain and how the bosses would feel me injured on the job, the insurance coverage, workers' comp, thank you. So basically, when you get injured, okay, how's this go forward? Write an injury report. I should have brought all the injury reports I have. I have like several. I'm maybe exaggerating, about maybe 10 or 12 injuries I sustained, 2 head injuries, foot burn from a chemical that leaked into the shoe, another chemical burn that went straight to the face, straight to my eye. Here's how it went. There was a chemical in our supply closet that we never use. 2 months into the job at Canisius, and there was a graffiti right in the stall door of the athletics center. So I sprayed it just a few times. So I'm like, pretend this is the toilet. There's the door, and I'm spraying like several times on the door to get the stuff off. As I'm spraying, one wheelie got into my eye. Not running back, I had to call my supervisor to come and take me back to the main campus to flush my eye out and go straight to Sisters Hospital. I was there for at least 2 hours because I had to wait that long. Called my mother, told her what happened. In the usual mom fashion, he goes, "How many times do we have to tell you you have to be careful?" I try too many to count. I think that was the appropriate answer. But did I learn my lesson of being too careful? What's the appropriate answer? Yeah, no. Oh, okay, I like that. This is no, that Dave is precise. Thank you. I like that. Nope. Eric went on to get more several injuries. 2 thumb injuries, a hand injury before the one I had back 2 years ago. And when I did the foot injury back when at Elderwood, I was working a double shift. This is when we had the blizzard in 2014. And I slept overnight. And the next morning, as you're moving a laundry booster chemical that looked like the color of Mountain Dew, kid you not, it looked like Mountain Dew. I twist the cap to make sure it was tight. Lo and behold, I did not do that. So what happened was I dragged it over because it was so heavy. It was like this big gallon worth of the chemical burn booster. And so I decided to drag it over, and then all of a sudden the chemical splooshed out, land in my foot. So what did I do? Eric went to the nursing supervisor, put a water basin in my foot. They had to call mom because she was up on the 2nd floor of her unit to come downstairs to meet me. And I think she shook her head at me. And we're going to do a little bleep here of a censor. So basically with this experience, and my mother is just like, you know the rest of the word, the S word. Oh, what was it, Dave? Show me again. And basically this wasn't the first time I did injuries. So mom was like, if you do that again, I kick your butt. Sure enough, tried listening to her, but this wasn't the end of that story. So what have I learned from this experience? What should I do from now on? I can take any suggestions, but I think the only suggestion that I have is quit. What's that, Jill? Yeah, yes, I would have called her. But bubble wrap. Actually, when I put it in here, I should be like John Travolta in that bubble as the bubble boy. But boy in the plastic bubble. Thank you, Joe. And the chemical would melt the bubble. Slow down, that's another one But when you're on a job site, not so much. Take it from me, and I hope nobody does this, but do not become like me and get injured on the job. Madam Toastmaster. What's that?
So Kate is in the back of the room saying he hasn't had any recent injuries, correct? But thank you, Eric, for telling us how dangerous of it. Who knew that cleaning was such a dangerous job? And I have to tell you, my son is a cleaner at Newfane School District, so now I'm worried about him. I was worried about him driving home at night with deer, but now I have to worry about all these other things too. I'm gonna be just like your mother. So our next speaker is going to be Kate. She's talking about Pomodoro making. So this should be really interesting. I'm excited to see this. It's not your typical speech. It is an instructional about a holiday type craft and ornament. So we have Kate or Pomodoro making. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Remember back at Tom's Diner, sometimes we did crafts for Christmas? Let me show you something. This is a very threadbare ornament. It's almost falling apart. Does anyone recognize these? I date everything. So this, I wrote on it, 2019 TM. Jen Zapla brought all the supplies for these little snowflake trees with stamps and bells and string. And this isn't going to last another year because that is so threadbare now, just 5 years later. But I brought something else that you could hang in your tree if you'd like, but we're going to make a little craft. Raise your hand if you've ever made a pomander before. I see several hands. Raise your hand if you've ever heard or seen these before. All right. What is this? What is this? I'll show them my, what is that? Oh. It's the what? I want the Zoom folks and myself to hear because the you guys aren't allowed to sit together, just like I'm not allowed to sit with some people. Mike and Dave Shannon. Oh my goodness. We're having a ball of fun here today, folks. You on Zoom, we love you and miss you. Who do we have so we know who's in the space? Here on Zoom, in Zoom, we have Phil Russell and Marshall and David Jones and Mark Campos. Am I missing anybody else on Zoom? That's who I can see right now. All right, looks like we got everybody. In the room, we have a packed house. Len and Joe and David Shannon, Mike Florio, my mom. Dr. Stevens is back around work. Thank you, Gerald, for coming back. We have Maggie Craig, we have Dave Licata, we have Steve, Mike Licata, Jill, Marty, Tracy, of course, you've seen, Sylvia, Carol, Erica, you have seen, Nancy, you have seen, and Jackie, you've seen. And Mary is going to help me. And you're going to make these today. There's going to be no rush. We have the room for another 45 minutes, but I brought oranges and the small halos for anybody who'd like to do this, and plenty of cloves. Before we get started, I will tell you a little bit about what these are. They date back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Pomander in French is from pomme, like the apple, a pomme, and amber, pomander, ambergris. Ambergris is like a waxy substance. It was very aromatic. Mom was talking politically correct. We'll talk about that a whole nother time. But sperm whales are where the ambergris came from for hundreds of years. Whales were killed for that. We don't use those as much today. But a waxy substance was bind together in a ball with lots of herbs and spices in a lot of different ways, often carried by you that you could smell to think about. In the past, we've heard a lot about maybe the smells not so great. A lot of that's myths. I was a history teacher for a lot of folks that know people did take baths in the Middle Ages. They did clean themselves, but there was a lot of disease, as we know. And a lot of people thought at the time, the physicians thought this, the philosophers thought that bad smelling air is what would make you sick. So if there were bad aromas in the air, you would try to clear them with smoke, with fire, with other aromatics. And so the original pomanders were balls of wax with lots of spices. Think of cloves and ginger and nutmeg and cinnamon, very strong smelling scents. And they could be carried nearby. Doctors would even have them in their canes. We think of a stethoscope around a doctor's neck today. Their canes were once seen as their badge of privilege, and some had hidden pomanders at the top of their cane. So when they came into a space that smelled diseased, they could hold their canes up to themselves and clear the air and stay healthy, so they thought. In any case, these are still a very nice tradition that we can make very easily, and then you keep. You can even keep these for years. You can, after it's been clove studded like I did, I made this about 10 days ago for another activity with another group. And you can coat them with spices and shake off the excess, and it preserves it. If you use alum or there's different like arrowroot powders that you can use for preservation, and mix it with a lot of those beautiful scents that I mentioned, the spices, it binds in all the little holes and keeps it preserved, and it can dry for years. Or you can put it in the oven at a low temperature, and it also shrinks. When you knock on it or make a sound, if it sounds hollow, you know it's done and it's dry, and it can be lasted for years. Some say it gets rid of bugs or other pests. Who knows the reality there, but they do smell lovely. You can make them with lemons, limes, most citrus fruit work. We're using fruits today. Mary's going to help hand out oranges for everybody. I wouldn't recommend eating it afterwards, but I suppose you could take the studs out. But this is more to have as a keepsake and to make for the next week or so. This would last if you did no preservation to it. You could leave it in the fridge at night if you want to make it last a little bit longer. So this should last through Christmas. So it's better to make them with absolutely fresh and hard oranges. It's easier to stud the cloves in. These are not. I also brought little bamboo skewers because you can kind of help yourself. You can use a golf tee at home, skewers, tacks. You can use a knitting needle if you want to make any design. This is not any particular design. You just don't want to put two cloves right next to each other, because as the orange shrinks, they would push the studs of the cloves out. So you want to keep them at least a clove's distance apart. Some people make stars or crosses or hearts or other designs. I didn't go crazy and bring ribbon. You can tie a ribbon to this if you'd like. If you need precise circles, use rubber bands. You can put rubber bands around them and make lines in precise circles. I did not follow my mother's mathematical tradition. She was a math teacher, and I didn't go all out like that, but you can make these again at home. So Mary, if you could go around and give everyone an orange. There's again the smaller ones or the larger ones. Now, I could have brought a little plate or a little dish for your cloves, but you can just put them right out on the table. It's fine. So there's little cloves and bamboo skewers. So we're going to pass those around. And for the rest of the meeting, you can just be assembling these. If you're a crafty person, you can do it in the back. You can do it on the tables. It's really up to you how into it you get. And they do smell lovely. And it is a very nice tradition. I could read you stories and talk about all kinds of other things, but I'd rather just leave you with this. So just like when Jennifer brought us her little ornaments, we kind of just made it throughout the meeting as other presentations and music and other things were happening. So any questions about the pomanders, I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, we'll just get right to it, and we'll be making these for the rest of the meeting. I'll come around with the cloves and the little skewers, and if you have any questions, let me know. And I will hand it back to our Toastmaster of the day, Tracy. All right.
All right, we're going to take this out, and Kate, you're going to stay up here with me, because an old AM Lockport tradition is the 12 days of Christmas. Oh yes, Dave, you're going to be singing. And everybody on Zoom, you are singing too. You are the 5 golden rings. So as we come about, Kate, we have 3 more of the things that need to be passed out. Everybody's participating in the room. I kind of thought about this, and this is going to be difficult on Zoom. So we are all going to have to stand up here, pass the mic down, and do it that way. So Zoom can participate with us. I also, this is something I haven't done in years and years, but I used to always give a report on the cost of the 12 days of Christmas. And I used to keep track of inflation, and it's kind of interesting. The 12 days of Christmas, it's almost like the Wizard of Oz. There's so much meaning into it. Each day of the 12 days has a religious meaning. And if you look into it, there is also an economic meaning to some of these. So the partridge in the pear tree, that's very similar to the housing costs. So pay very attention to housing costs when I give you that. Gold, we all know how that it works in the economy. And then 9 ladies dancing, lords a leaping, pipers piping, and drummers drumming. That's representative of the service industry. So this year, the cost in 2024, the cost of the 12 days of Christmas is $49,264. That is up 5% from 2003, where it was 46,729. So we had 5% inflation this past year. However, that has stabled out since 2023, where inflation was at 10.5%, and the cost of Christmas was only $45,000. I'm just going to point out that the housing industry in 2024 increased 14%. So when you get your assessments this year, do not be surprised that they have increased. And Dave's going south. Last year, the increase was 12%. So as our holiday tradition comes, I am going to invite everybody up in the room up front so we can start singing the 12 days of Christmas. In line, we are going to have the partridge in the pear tree here. Dave's going to be here sign languaging the 2 turtle doves on the way down. Zoom people, when we get to the 5 golden rings, belt it out. So everybody, you're all up here. You all have an assignment. Everybody has to get up. I know. Mary, you're up here. One over here. Yes. Lowest to highest.
I'm 2.
Self and Gerald.
You're 1 also? Yes. Oh. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, we got a purple.
Are you 6? So you have to get in the queue.
We're the
first day.
Oh, we're going now?
Yeah, we're going this way.
You want us to go back?
Hold on. When are you guys done? No. What good?
Organized would be boring.
So we'll do 1 through 6 on this side and 6 through 12 on this side? Yeah, we're going to get to go up and a game of musical chairs.
Okay, so how many people does it take to organize a group of Toastmasters? We've always been seated. We've never done this hybrid, so this is an experiment.
Get this on tape, right, Len?
We are going to start off with the partridge in a pear tree. Let's go.
First day of Christmas, my true love gave to me
A
partridge in a pear tree. I don't need a microphone. 2 turtle doves
And a partridge in a pear tree.
day of Christmas my true love gave to me.
3 French hens.
Doves and a partridge in a pear tree.
On the 4th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 4 calling birds, 3 French hens,
2 turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree. Zoom. 5 golden
Golden rings.
calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Elvis is in the building. Wow.
My true love gave to me 6 geese a laying.
5 golden
Rings.
3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Christmas, my true love gave to me 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying.
5
Golden
5
rings.
golden rings.
4 calling birds,
French hens, 2 turtle doves, a partridge
In a pear tree.
Day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying.
5
Golden
golden
rings.
4 calling birds, 3 French hens,
2 turtle doves, a partridge in a pear tree.
Day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying.
5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, 3 French hens,
2 turtle doves, a partridge in a pear tree.
On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me
10 lords a leaping,
9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying.
5
5
golden
Golden rings.
rings.
4 calling birds, 3 French hens,
2 turtle doves, a partridge in a pear tree.
My true love gave to me
11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping,
9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying.
5
5 golden rings. Thanks, Mark.
4 calling birds, 3 French hens,
Sorry, my cell was ringing.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Day of Christmas, my true love gave to me
12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping,
9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying.
5
5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, 3 French hens,
2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Right here.
Thank you, AM Lockport. That was an old tradition. I think we need some work, but we'll get there as times go. And you know what? This is an old tradition that Glenda brought to us years and years ago. We actually had nice cards made out. So let's do that in remembrance of all of our past Toastmasters. And Eric has something to say.
I would not be forgetting of our OG of the holiday party, and remember, we like to remember Marilyn Beam, who for years have done the holiday party. And we like to take a quick moment of silence for her, as she was one of our OGs for this, and everyone for this wonderful holiday gathering. So let's take a moment of silence really quickly and honor Marilyn, and to everyone who has, Ed Bird, I heard Ed, thank you. Willie Daniels, Charlie Deacon, Tom Moran, Deb, Franco. Am I missing anybody else? And people from way back, but let's honor a moment of silence to all of them. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Eric, I can't reach that high. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. That was great. We'll get better at that as time goes on. So is there anybody else in the room or anybody on Zoom that wants to add to our meeting? And I know Len Thornton does. Len.
Thank you. Bear with me. I left my glasses at home and I think I can squint my way through it. We'll see. Couple of years ago, I received a book for Christmas. 10,000 all-time dad jokes, something like that. So I'm starting a tradition every holiday party. I'm going to read some of the finer cultivated ones from that book, which bring me a great deal of joy. Autocorrect should be called auto-assume because it isn't always correct. Do nudists picture everyone clothed during a speech? You hate your alarm clock both when it works and when it doesn't. Imaginary friends have real friends. I had an awesome joke about a boomerang, but I forgot it. It's okay, it'll come back to me. I was fired from the bank on my first day of the job. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her over. To the mathematician who invented the number 0, thanks for nothing. I wanted to make myself a belt made out of watches. Then I realized it would just be a waste of time. So what if I don't know what the word Armageddon means? It's not the end of the world. I don't like those Russian dolls. They're so full of themselves. You can always catch me singing in the car, but only when I'm going in reverse. I'm a backup singer. I don't understand our laws. Donate 1 kidney and you're a hero. Donate 5 kidneys and they call the police. You know the best thing about living in Switzerland? I don't know either, but their flag is a big plus. And finally, did you hear about the semicolon that broke the law? It was given 2 consecutive sentences. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. So we're going to bring up Dave Shannon. You have something to share with us?
Believe it or not, I was not only a teacher, but I had to have a side job. So I was a cab driver. And I drove a cab from Scarsdale train station, and we went out to all places, Downton City, we went all over the place. Well, I had an opportunity at Christmas time. Probably most of you do not know this, but after we just sang that song, I'm Jewish. And on Christmas, no one wanted to work. I volunteered. And everybody got in the cab and they said to me, you have to work on Christmas. I know my kids are opening their presents. I'm not seeing the tree. And but someone had to do it. So I'm missing Christmas for the 4th year in a row. Boy, did I get tips. Then the other Christmas story is, I'm married 2 times. First time I was married to a Jewish woman. We had a menorah. Okay. At 49 years old, I met my second wife. She's Lutheran. And I said, we could have a Christmas tree. She says, of course. I've never had a Christmas tree. I'm going to tell you a little secret. All those Jews that said they don't jealous of a Christmas tree, they're full of you know what. They are jealous. We're going to get a big Christmas tree. Well, our first Christmas tree together cost us $400. I had the biggest tree and every single ornament known to man, including singing Elvis. But my wife drew, at the end of the story is my wife drew the line when we went to Vegas to get married, said, no, Dave, you can't have Elvis do the ceremony, the marriage ceremony. And that's my Christmas story. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. I'm kind of jealous. I always wanted to be married by Elvis. So our next.
Don't you remember?
No. That could have been the problem. So, Dave Licata, did you want to come up and share something with us?
I warned you that I was gonna ask you to call on me, like, what are you talking about? You know, that's off.
All right, so Dave Licata in the back of the room announced, but before I bring up Steve Smith, did you want to come up, Joe? Okay, so I'm going to bring up Steve Smith. He's going to tell us about that night sky. And if you have not participated in this meeting so far, beyond that wonderful rendition of the 12 Days of Christmas, he is going to call on some of you to tell us about your Christmas memories. Steve Smith is going to give us table topics and tell us about what's in the sky, if he knows.
Oh, the problem is, I don't know what Dave's talking about. I wasn't gonna say that, Dave. He said he seldom does know what he's talking about. I was gonna be nice. Planets are always lining up in one way, shape, or form, so I don't usually follow things like that. All of them. When is this supposed to happen, Dave? In January. Well, stay tuned. I'll have to research this and see if he knows what he's talking about. So all of you that thought you're gonna get out of talking today, you were wrong. I thought I was gonna get out of a job today. I was wrong. So what she has done for me, I have all the names in here. I'm gonna pull some names. And I'll get a name of someone that has not talked today. I won't call double dip anywhere. Oh, let's see. And I have a bunch of questions here that she's provided for me. Is Zach here today? Nope. Okay. Don't editorialize, Dave. Ah, I have Mary. You want to come up and talk? Okay. Yeah, see, you can't get out that easy. Okay, we'll take this in a row. A question for you is, Tell us one thing you need for it to feel like Christmas.
Can I shake your hand?
Sure.
So, I love Christmas, and the one thing I need is snow. I don't want a green Christmas ever again. It's not Christmas time, in my opinion, without snow. I want a white Christmas this year. Oh, I brought Pitzel. I heard they were better than yours, Dave.
Thank you. Well, this is penalty-free day. There'll be no judging. You don't have to use the word of the day, although I encourage it. Let's see if we can find another customer. Sylvia, you, yeah, past, present, or future. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Christmas favorite movie, and it falls in with the past, present, and future. I like the, oh my gosh, my mind just went blank. No, it's an old one. Oh my gosh, my mind just went blank. No, it is the one with the ghosts come from the past and the Scrooge. Christmas Carol. And I have that taped in black and white. I have the Muppets one for the kids. We watched every Christmas Eve. That was a tradition. And it had the past, the present, and the future. And that's what my oldest one said, are we playing that? At 33 years old. He's coming home Saturday. So he said, are we playing that music movie?
Yeah, if you want to talk about a Christmas Carol, you got to qualify that. There's what, about 1 million versions of that? Dave mentioned the best one, Alistair Sims. I would agree with that. Have you seen what I believe it's a 1936 version? That's a pretty good version too. Okay, let's. Yeah. Whoa! I was just asked if Dave was in that version. Yeah. What? What's that? That would be Alistair Sims. I'm talking about like 36 version, the original, and I can't think of the man's name. Anyhow, how about Mark Campus? You want to come up and talk to us? Is he on his line?
I'm
There
thinking
he
I
is.
don't have a choice, but I relish the opportunity for sure.
Okay, let me find a question for you. What's your favorite Christmas song?
My favorite Christmas song.
I asked you first.
There are a few of them that are my favorites, but the one that I seem to enjoy most recently is I love the Christmas Canon by Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I just think it's a beautiful song. And then tied with that, I guess, those two staples by Andy Williams, I think are just so awesome. Those are my favorite Christmas songs. Mr. Pseudo Table Topics Master, back to you.
Pseudo? I resent that. I don't deny it, but I resent it. Yeah. Yes. What? Reginald Owens. Yes, from the 1936. Was I right in the year? 38. Year. 38. You're okay. That was close. Oh. Len, do you want to come up and talk? You want me to pass you? Yeah, you did. Okay. Try to get someone that hasn't been up here. Next name, Eric, you've talked today. We don't need you. Yeah. I don't think he. Yeah. What? Okay, Carol, that works. You have a dog. Here's an interesting question. If you had the option to change the costume of Santa Claus, what would you do?
Actually, I think it was at Cypress Gardens. They had a display of all various costumes, but I have to go with the red, the one we have. That's perfect. I wanted to mention a couple Christmas pasts. I remember when I was little and my father worked shift work and he was going to work on midnights. And I remember it was Christmas Eve and I remember my mother and I, well, you could kind of see where he parked and we waved out the window to him. One Christmas, we all had the flu. There was just the three of us. I'm an only child. And I made a little paper Christmas tree and we had one of those turkeys, you know, those little ones in a little metal kind of tinfoil container. So we didn't feel like eating much. And this year is the very first year that my husband does not have a real Christmas tree because he's having surgery, his knee surgery, the beginning of January. And there's just a lot of maintenance with the real tree. So he's settled for an artificial, but I'm sure next year we'll be back to the real trees. Thank you.
David Jones. Oh.
Good morning.
Okay, we're gonna do one more, and I've been asked to talk to you, Dave Jones.
Mhm.
You going with a sauce on the side? Oh. Let's see. Let's find you a good question here. Are you a Black Friday Christmas shopper? I'll get it out. Well, that's
I am.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. Good morning, everybody. No, I've never been into that. My ex-wife and kids would do that, but I would never ever participate in such a unique thing. I'm an Amazon guy. I get gifts every day for myself from Amazon. They're at my house almost every single day, so I don't need to wait for something. If I want something, I just get it. In fact, this Christmas, my daughters asked me what I want for Christmas, and I said, nothing. If I want it, I just get it for myself. I don't need to wait for somebody else to get it for me. But yeah, no, the Black Friday, I think it's changed. In the old days, it was crazy chaotic. Now it's people aren't camping out, I don't think, in their tents. But no, I've never done that. But thank you, Steve.
Well, the rest of you can breathe a sigh of relief because I think that's all I'm going to do up here. I'll turn it back over to our Toastmaster.
Thank you. Did anybody else want to get up and contribute? Okay.
Phil has his hand up. See, Phil?
Oh, I'm sorry. Jill is coming up. Okay, Jill.
Okay, first off, these cloves that we're punching in the oranges remind me of an Easter many years ago. About 3 weeks before Easter, I had 5 wisdom teeth pulled. Yes, 5. 5. I was blessed with extra wisdom. Oh, yes. Unfortunately, one of them turned into a dry socket. Very, very painful. Nothing compared to the beetle in my ear, though. It was John Ringo or Paul. Okay, no. Okay, it was the beetle. No, it was a Japanese beetle, so I don't know which Yoko. Okay. Yeah, the Japanese beetle, I'll have to do that as a speech sometime and make everybody sick. Anyhow, they stuffed these clove encased string pieces of paper in the socket to kill the bacteria and kill the pain. And the last thing I wanted that Easter was ham that had been pushed with cloves. Okay. I don't know if anybody has seen it on Facebook. It's probably on TikTok or something too. But there is from a Wyoming,
it might be Wyoming, Colorado, or Wyoming, Wisconsin, or something like that, fire company, that they do a version of one of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra songs with their fire trucks. It is so neat. So if you have the ability to search for it, I think it was Wyoming, Wisconsin, but I don't know for sure. It starts out kind of slow and funny in a way, and then it gets really good. If I find it, I will email it, yes. And last, a Christmas movie that has just recently come out. And if you paid for it in the theaters, that's too bad, because you can now get it on Amazon for free, and that's Red One. And it is so funny. It is so good. I actually stayed awake for the whole thing. And this was like 1 a.m. when we started watching it. Yeah. So that was just for everybody to watch that movie. It is funny. And of course, Santa gets saved.
Thank you, Jill. You just put something on my Christmas movie list. Maggie, did you have anything that you wanted to say? Or Maggie has something she needs to say. Oh, no, if you don't want to, but Dr. Stevens is happy to come up and share with us. And then right after Dr. Stevens speaks, we are going to go to Mark Campos.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Nice to be back. I wanted to weigh in on Christmas past, present, and future. One story from each. In the past, some of you know that I adopted 4 kids all at once. The new members don't know that. So we had our kids convinced that we had a trap door in our house. And that's where we hid all our Christmas presents, because they looked everywhere to try to find them. You know how kids sneak, just want to take a little peek. They couldn't find them. We just hid them in different places in reality. So that's from the past. Christmas presents. I just went to a town in Pennsylvania. This is how crazy we are. I drove 5 hours to a town in Pennsylvania called Elizabethtown. They have a Christmas center there, and it has antique Christmas things. So it's not a place where you'd want to bring little kids. So we got to see all the things from the past. Like they actually had a Woolworth store that you could go in that was decorated with all kinds of Christmas things and different Christmas antiques. So that was pretty fun. I even saw a little thing about bagpipes that I sent Kate. So that was pretty cool. Little addition to that. And Christmas future. In the future, we're going to go to Germany in Christmas time. And so that is a plan of ours. So I wanted to weigh in a little bit about that to go with the word of the day. Madam Toastmaster. Oh, thank you.
Oh, that was from Kate's pointing out that Dr. Stevens was wearing his t-shirt from the conference. Perfect. All right, Dave Licata, did you want to tell us how the word went, or of course he's going to come up. He's going to tell us about the word. Why miss an opportunity? He's talking as he's walking up, but we're going to make sure he gets up here and gives us a full report. Dave Licata.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Beth Banks did not use a word. Katie Orr, henceforth known as Romper Room Katie, didn't do it. Tracy, you did it twice. God love you. And Marshall, we don't care about a chicken with 3 legs. We're looking for a chicken with 4 wings. That would be huge here in Buffalo. I know you're an entrepreneur and that's something for you to shoot for. Oh, Jackie knocked it out of the park with 6. Eric Snyder has henceforth known as Hazmat Snyder. Didn't use it. Oh, Shannon, I want to tell you about the Hallmark store that my family used to own. And whenever we bought an ornament or wrapping and ribbons and bows, it was 50% off. We got the stuff it cost. So after that store closed and I went to the card shop in the mall, the late lamented mall, and I had to pay full price, I just fell on the floor. Oh, I want to be in the shot, don't I? I know this because I studied television in college. All right. Yep. Steve Smith gets points for bringing up Alistair Sims. And Dr. Jerry did it 3 times and he put the perfect bow on this gift of my word of the day. Thank you. And back to Tracy Farrell.
Thanks, Dave. So now we're going to go to Mark Campbell's. Let us know, Mark, are we going to revive this tradition? Give us your opinion.
Well, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, Tracy, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Come back. Come back. Back. Stay there a minute. Yes, we're going to make this an ongoing tradition. Now, I want you to stay there because you gave me a whole slew of objectives, and I want to make sure we address every single one of them. First and foremost, you did a fabulous job reviving this tradition. I definitely felt a sense of nostalgia. Those are very big shoes to fill, as Eric alluded to. Marilyn Beam always did a wonderful job running this tradition, and I think you should take it going forward. You did such a magnificent job. Now, secondly, the second of, well, I'm not even going to give you a chance to react to that. The second objective that I know you mentioned was your active listening. Now, I couldn't see you, but I was highly confident you were listening intently throughout the meeting. So check. What other objectives did you have?
That was it, Mark. That was it.
Oh, okay. So all right. So you're good. Now you can sit down, but you're good. Anyway, I thought the meeting was terrific. There was great participation, great enthusiasm from everyone. I have to talk about the prepared speeches, the 4 of them that we had in the early portion of the meeting. They were so varied and so entertaining. The mother-daughter combination was fabulous. Kate, you cracked me up just how earnestly you were looking up at Beth was just really amusing to us in Zoom land. Jackie, what a heartfelt speech. Terrific job today. Outstanding as always. Eric, the tales of your misadventures, I just have to say I'm grateful that you have never been a member of my team. No offense. We use tools here. It would not be good for you. You could get hurt. You would tank my occupational safety metrics every year. Stick with cleaning. I think it's safer than telecom. I do love you though, buddy. And Kate, great instructional speech. I think that was off the cuff. Good job. The 12 Days of Christmas, it's a fun tradition, but I dread this. Now, at my age, I am very well aware of what I am good at, and more importantly, what I am not good at. And I cannot sing to save my life. So I always dread having to sing. Secondly, there's another element to this that I want you all to understand. Tomorrow is my last day. This is the last time you will see me in this particular setting. And the last thing I wanted one day before my departure was have people think I'm off my rocker by hearing me sing the 12 Days of Christmas. Thankfully, the door was closed and I really didn't do a very good job of singing, as David Jones appropriately called me out for my lack of effort. My phone was ringing though, I wasn't lying about that. And kudos for remembering us in Zoom land when you did the 12 Days of Christmas. For those of us that are out here, it is tough, and I think we have a hard time with this. Every time something is yelled out in the room, we don't hear it. So I would just ask everyone to please be cognizant of those who are in Zoom and always try to make us a part of things. Of course, you will be seeing this ugly mug live and in person going forward starting in January. But overall, I think it was a great meeting. You did a terrific job, and I think you definitely should carry the torch going forward. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mark. And if it's going to be my choice, we will do the 12 days of Christmas because I love it. All right. So I just pulled out a number and Eric will read it.
Last three numbers, 774. Sylvia wins the split.
All right. Thank you and Merry Christmas to all.
All right, folks. Let's give another hand for Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. And also, real quick, I want to say thank you to Gerald for taking the mantle too for the past few years, as well as our holiday master. Let's give it up to Gerald as well.